space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, Sir Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Dragon the D, which not that kind of D, like the Enterprise D. Okay, let's just.
Can I just say I'm a bit disappointed actually here, Squee. I was expecting more tonight. Like
what
just after. Well, I don't know, but just after 6 o'clock, you said that you didn't have time to talk to us about Strange New Worlds because you were busy getting ready for the show. So I was expecting a bit more than just the dragon.
You see, the problem is, I said getting ready. You read into it, the show. I was getting myself ready for afterwards because I'm bloody hungry and I didn't want to eat at 9 o'clock tonight. No, hey, look, it's not my fault. You added words to the message that weren't there. Although I'm thinking if this heat wave continues, I'm going to have to, like, the new version of the dragon suit I'm working on at the moment does have a headpiece which can separate, which I might need if it gets hotter.
That's it. You don't think about your summer dragons, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
So as Elliot's alluded to, we have quite a lot of late breaking Trek news this week.
Can I start with a warning to people?
Of course.
If anyone hasn't noticed, I put a link to the new trailer for Strange New Worlds on our Retrek channel for people to watch it. While I was searching YouTube for that, there was 3 hits for spoilers for episode 10 from people who know what's coming up and all that on it. So yeah. I nearly caught spoilers, so I put it there so you don't have to search YouTube and risk seeing spoilers.
And by the way, look, I'm going to, as Jim said, and I know Elliot will be the same, before I've watched it, I'm going to avoid the internet en masse, just stick to Messenger. If anyone goes out of their way to spoil it for me, though, I will find you. I will hunt you down. I will kill all your family, anyone you've ever met. It is that level of event we're going for tomorrow on Star Trek.
It is absolutely
the next generation, because let's face it is at this stage.
After Zoe says, "Oh no, spoilers! Glad I haven't watched it."
Yeah,
right?
There's no spoilers in the trailer I put up. That's why I put it up there, so you don't have to search YouTube and risk.
No, anything on our page will be spoiler free and. Yeah, as soon as we finish this broadcast, I am done with the internet until I've watched Picard.
It's like I don't know if people have noticed, but we don't put like the link to the show advertisement for the show going live until the Tuesday, the day before. We'll leave it as late in the week because there's obviously spoilers in our thumbnail because it's taken from the episode. So we avoid all that as long as possible.
And let it be said, this is why Admiral Elliot gets paid the big annual bucks, which are non-existent because we're podcasting. But theoretically, it's because he jumps on those grenades of spoilers for you. He covers them for you. He shouts it out.
That's it.
You don't have to.
So, Trek news then. Yesterday, we got an image that came out of Michelle Yeoh, and it said, Academy Award-winning Michelle Yeoh returns to the Star Trek universe. And when I first saw it, I was like, this is one of them fan ones that somebody's done. But then I saw, oh no, it's on the actual Paramount Star Trek website, everything. So Section 31, the first announced spin-off from Discovery, is finally arriving after we've had about 5 other shows in between. But it's a movie, a TV movie or a streaming movie, not a series, which I think is what happens when your leading lady wins an Oscar before you've managed to get the series into production.
She suddenly goes, I can spare you 2, maybe 3 months, but you're not getting me for 8 months.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to call this, though. I did call this one. I did say that she is such a fan, I think she was still going to do something. Okay, I said that it was going to be the series because we didn't know that the movie was a possibility. But the way she had talked about it previously, and I love of Star Trek, I had the feeling that she would go out of her way to do it, even after winning the Oscar, and here we are. I mean, just huge props to Michelle Yeoh for following her heart as opposed to the money.
I think a movie is a sensible way to go because, like, Section 31 could be quite a negative sort of show for Star Trek, the nature of what it is. But doing a movie as a standalone, this is a separate story, could work really well. And then if it is massively popular and there's more room for another story, you can get Michelle back in a year or two and go, do you want to do another one of these? Instead of tying her up for so long.
Or do what they've done. This might be a launch pad in the same way Picard looks to be a launch pad for the next thing with Legacy. Maybe they build the crew around her and then she kind of sends them off on the way.
I was also thinking, like, last we saw her, she was sent back in time by Carl. But we don't know where. But at the moment, like, if you're doing a movie, these can be really expensive, these shows. So you've got Discovery coming to an end. So Discovery might want to blow up some sets itself, but you've also got that possibility in the Section 31 show. You've got this. We have to get there, but they've just built some new great bridge sets for Picard that you can have her using because she's gone back to the past. You've got sets for Strange New World there, so you've got a lot of things that they can use without having to go into a massive build separately in budget.
Just also to shout out, just because I saw online, and I know I gave them a shout out last week, but I have to give some props to the guys behind Riker's Beard. They have some set pieces of the Enterprise Bridge, which apparently got used for these shows. So I love it when any fans produce something like that and it gets used in the show. I know what it means to people. I've seen some of the Daleks which people have made, which are so screen accurate. They've now been on the screen.
There was a lot of literally trash bin jumping, wasn't there, when Next Generation came to an end? Because they literally threw away parts of the set and fans went out and trash dived and got them out the bins. And
just as a small, I was going to say correction, more of an embellishment, the Riker's Beard set, the producers didn't end up using it. They used it for reference. But apparently when they got it in, they realised that the materials weren't really suitable, and by the time they would have adapted them to get them how they needed them for filming, it was cheaper to just so they ended up using it as a
fair play to be able to get used as a reference. And in all fairness to them, the thing is to get it to look realistic in real life, it's got to look different from how it would look on the screen.
Absolutely.
It's got to be like the way the screen changes the tone and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm sorry, but whoever Facebook user is, well, I had faith in Michelle Yeoh. She's put, they've put,
I'm not sure
where Joe would get too big to come
is.
back, so I'm happy. You got to have faith in Michelle Yeoh, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It'll be either Emma or Geordie.
Well, yeah, but we don't know. That's why I said she. I suspect.
It could be Neil. Neil sometimes.
It could be my good friend, Facebook user. They have a really unfortunate name.
And they look like a silhouette.
Yeah, it's uncanny. And then the other big news is an hour and a half before we went on, we got the Strange New Worlds trailer. So I've only managed to watch it once. But there's plenty of good stuff in there already. So
let's start by thanking the producers of Star Trek for finally recognizing what time we go out and dropping it in time.
That's it.
So how often does it go out at like 8:00 on a Wednesday after we finish the show?
Yeah.
How
we're
many times
on.
has that happened?
That's happened so many times. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. I will pick up something which someone else said. Our friend Jack said that. And I agree. It's like, the fact you've got Kirk meeting Sung's relative, it just doesn't really make sense to the timeline. But nothing does with Spock really at this stage with that either.
I did think about that after Jack said that, and again, it makes the fans do too many mental gymnastics for something that they just don't have to put in there.
Yeah,
but they don't recognise Khan when he just gives his name as Khan. But then when they realise that he's Khan Noonien Singh, that's when they do remember, oh yeah, there was a famous dictator called Khan Noonien Singh. So it's not that Kirk didn't know who Khan the historical figure is. It's just that he didn't match up the name Khan to Khan Noonien Singh until they looked in there.
I mean, you might mention though at that point, it's like, God, I served with one of his relatives. I mean, that didn't come up in conversation.
Like, has it been established in sort of on the show yet in canon that she actually is a relative?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
it was mentioned in an episode.
They've also got the whole Nurse Chapel thing doesn't really make a lot of sense to her relationship with Spock because
and the Spock to Pring stuff.
Yeah, I just wish. I think Strange New Worlds is good enough. They don't need to keep on throwing
they
bits
don't.
of the original series at it. They're basically making it the original series, and I know it's extended universe, but there's so many books which cover what happened when Kirk came on, and they all kind of went within the same area. They all went when he came on. A lot of the other bridge crew came on with him, and it just feels like they're trying to steal from that. They don't need to do it. Is my main point.
No, good enough. It's good enough to stand on its own 2 feet.
Exactly, let it.
But proper Klingons.
There was two.
Yes.
I'll let you speak this just first. Yeah, I was happy with that.
Yeah. Proper Klingons. They've kept the classic makeup. They've gone with TOS uniforms. So I think we can officially say now, with the return of Worf and with these Klingons, the Discovery Klingon experiment is over, and we can draw a line under that. Thank you very much. That was a silly idea to begin with.
And if on another show they show Klingon boobs, I want it to be Klingon boobs in this makeup.
Yes.
That was the weirdest sex scene ever.
It was odd.
It was odd.
There was 2 things that I was disappointed about this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is that we get to see number 1 back on the ship.
Oh, true, yeah. And Lan, because she went off.
Yeah, like the cliffhanger was that she'd been taken away and imprisoned, presumably forever, never to be released. So they could have. I know we all like the character, but you keep that suspense going.
Yeah, I agree.
By not putting her in the trailer. Because, let's be honest, apart from the original pilot, originally, she was never seen again.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to her. So
no,
there's no reason why she couldn't have languished in
So
down.
You could have kept a bit of suspense there. Was that where she actually vanished from continuity? And we don't get her back.
I agree.
And the second one that I was annoyed, that didn't gel quite right with me, was Kirk. And it's when he's on the planet, he sounded very English. I always worked in space. And it just sounded very English compared to... It didn't sound like the American accent we used to.
I didn't get that, but I must admit, his portrayal in season 1 was... It just didn't call to mind Kirk to me at all.
No, it didn't to me either. But we'll see.
We'll really loud suddenly. It's like...
Oh, sorry.
Reverby?
Oh, I will turn my volume down, especially for you.
I heard it for a couple of minutes, but then it went.
Right.
After I heard it.
Now it sounds normal. Now you've...
Okay, good. So, yeah, Kirk, I don't know. I mean, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. They must have hired the actor for a reason.
I noticed he was introduced as Mr. Kirk. So we're unsure of his rank at this point. But he should probably be a lieutenant.
He's just got to dial up the swagger because, like, again, I think it's pretty well established that Kirk always had that swagger. It's not something that he just got in command. It's how he is. It's how he... And, like, he's a very young captain, so there's not a lot of time for his personality to completely change to get that swagger.
No, that's it. And it's like Chris Pine got it straight away. It was a different Kirk to Shatner's Kirk, but he was quintessentially Kirk, whereas this guy doesn't feel that yet. But
well, that's the thing. Chris Pine was playing the character, not the actor, which is a fine choice to make. It's fine to not put in all those Shatnerisms if you get enough of Kirk in there, and that's what he did. But this doesn't feel like Shatner. Doesn't feel like Kirk either.
This guy feels like he's doing something totally different.
Yeah, and it would have been fine in the like even in the episode in series 1 if they course correct now, because we've only seen a couple of shots in this trailer. If he course corrects now to have the swagger, you could say, well, maybe in this universe where everything's different, where he didn't become captain of the Enterprise, things changed for him.
I think they were trying to give that he had that bit of a swagger, didn't they? Because he sort of had what's her name, sort of like as if she was gushing when he beamed aboard because she had number one. Oh, I can feel things from you.
Yeah, but that's coming from her, not from him. He has to give that out. He has to elude the charm.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, shall we move on to the episode we're here to talk about, because it's a big episode to talk about, and it is Picard episode 9, Vox, the meaning of which we will find out as we go. And yeah, okay, first thing I want to call out, we carried on a lot last week about how unhappy we were that they did the same cliffhanger twice. And they tease that they're almost going to do it again. Like, we get this thing, Deanna's, oh, I'll open the door for you. And she opens the door and she runs away scared. And you're like, oh, no. Well, they're not going to tell us what she saw so much later. But they don't. We get a flashback almost immediately before the credit title comes on. So
I think that's great. But my question is, how can she see something in his mind that he can't? I mean, I get the subconscious thing, but this is certainly a new Beta's own ability to be able to see a part of your brain that you can't. Because so far, it's always been stuff in some conscious mind that.
I think it's metaphorical, isn't it? Like, she says, "I'll open the door for you," but he has to give her consent to do that. So he
doesn't peek over his shoulder a little bit. I mean, I'd be curious.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean. If you, I suppose inside the brain, he's allowing that part of his brain to open up, but he isn't letting his conscious mind engage with it, I suppose.
Because he really wants to know the answers. So he's thinking, I'll let you know, but I don't want to know. And Jim was right about the Borg.
We were right, but it had to be the Borg.
Yeah. The only thing I do say about that is that I want them to square that circle a bit, because at the moment, we've kind of just cold switched from changelings to Borg. Well, which, don't get me wrong, they used it so well in this episode. I have no complaints about how the Borg were used in this episode, but I would like a flashback to seeing how that kind of came about, or some changeling Borg kind of crossover in the last episode.
I was thinking about this. So, what we've got is, the changelings have obviously done some sort of deal with the Borg to help the Borg be able to assimilate the Federation.
Yes.
But we know everything we know about the Borg won't care about the deal, whatever deal they made with the
No, they won't.
They will carry on to assimilate then. So the changelings have helped the Borg assimilate a species that came up with a weapon that can wipe them out in genocide. It doesn't seem like a very sensible choice from the changeling's point of view.
The one thing which someone brought up with me, shout out to Michaela who brought this up. She said that she did raise the point of, like, can changelings be assimilated? Now, in their solid state, which they now have, possibly, but like, I wonder if, like, that's the reason why they came up with this line, which is again why I want something to show how they got these lines, why they got into it.
Even if they can't assimilate the changelings, there's only a planet's worth of changelings that can go into Dominion space and assimilate everyone else now, and take out the chick. And so you go into Dominion space that's controlled by changelings, but you've now assimilated the Federation that has the weapon that can commit genocide to your species. So there's ought to be no rule over the Jem'Hadar or the Vorta. So you can go in and assimilate all of them really easy. It makes the assimilation of the Gamma Quadrant really, really simple.
I think that the Borg and the Changeling are so arrogant, they each think that the other can best them. Like, you make a compelling argument for the Borg, but I think Changelings are such arrogant sons of bitches. They can't be assimilated, so they think that they're able to...
I think there's a degree of that. And I think also we've got to remember that we're not dealing with the Founders, we're dealing with Changelings, but it's this separate sect of Changelings who've been ostracized from the Founders.
That's really
so they're more or less mercenaries to an extent anyway. And I think Elliot's absolutely right. I think the Borg Queen will have said, you can infiltrate Starfleet for us, we'll give you this, that, and the other. And she absolutely won't. And I think from some of the things that Terry Matlas has said in Q&As online and whatnot, we're definitely going to get more of the Borg Queen and what's gone on and everything. But I'm not sure we'll get a flashback. But I think the nature of the plan will be made clear.
When you were saying it's meant to be like a double-length episode, the final one, isn't it? So
I think that was a rumor at one point, but I think what happened there was when they announced they were showing the finale in theaters and people out for 2 hours, they made that jump. But then since then, they've said, oh no, it's episodes 9 and 10. So I think we might get an extended episode, but maybe not a full.
Mind you,
I mean, the thing I would like to bring up, sorry, just getting back to Jim's point before we go too far off it, just when you said about the sect, I would actually buy that. And also, I maybe, even though the Borg, I'm sure, did promise the changeling sect something, if you put it through that prism, it does actually make sense that they just want to see the world burn. That they're like Vatic was just so like
just wanted to destroy the Federation.
So I think maybe that is it. Maybe they were just so tortured they didn't give a shit what happened afterwards because they
when they said we haven't seen the Borg in a decade, what about season 2?
Season 2 was a Voyager season because it never happened because it was all timey-wimey.
It never happened, and the Borg that we saw in that were the new Agnes Borg that were created from a Borg from an alternate universe. So we haven't seen the Prime Universe Borg
I would still say years. I mean, I did think that point, though. I mean, they still did say that we haven't seen the Borg, like the way Crusher put it. I think that is slightly sloppy writing because, one way or the other, at the end of that episode, we saw a load of Borg. They took over the ships. That would be kind of memorable. Like you would say you hadn't seen the Borg because
then they did the sort of time flash, didn't they, so that they weren't there.
No, not the end.
Yeah, but they were at the end because the Borg ship was there and they all fought off that thing which hasn't been picked up. But
exactly.
So yeah, I think the official answer is we haven't seen the real Borg in 10 years, and Beverly clearly misspoke.
Yeah,
that's the answer that the producers are giving. So
from another mother. That's a good one.
Exactly. So yeah, you can run with that or not run with that, but that's the official line that they're taking on it. So obviously the reveal is it is the Borg. And I love Picard's reaction to this, that at first he becomes sort of absolutely despondent, but then he gets all sort of uppity and he's just like, I'll tell him, my fault. And he's off, and it's like...
Well, Troy stops him and goes, no, there's protocols.
No, I was going to say that. Like, but I didn't... The problem I had with this is not one person after he goes, no, it's all my fault, I'll go and sort it out. Not one person goes, no, you're assimilated at the time. They go, no, fair enough, it's your fault. And Troy, which is meant like the empath, which I would expect to have a line like that more like, you can't blame yourself. You can't go in with this kind of attitude. And then you could have given Troy the more like protocol line, because when has Troy ever quoted protocol?
Yeah, she's the one like, I think you'll find there's protocol to be followed here.
She did finally pass the command exam.
Yeah,
she did. Yeah.
Well, even after that, she wasn't Mrs. Protocol in any of the movies or anything else ever, basically.
Look, she is now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone did tell me this story. Again, it's my friend McCain. She said that what if Bevs are changing? And if you listen to some of these sound things, which the voices which Jack hears. Now, you could just say it's because his mum or whatever else, but some of the sounds sound more like Bev's voice than it does Alice Cruz.
Well, they were until this episode. It was Gates McFadden's voice.
But even in this episode, you get some bit where there's a lighter voice which sounds like Gates, and then it becomes the Borg Queen.
Yes.
Which could point towards that, where you don't see the Borg Queen's face.
But Jack does have a line where he says, I thought the voice was you, but it wasn't, it was her. So I think that's the explanation that we've been hearing it from Jack's subjective point of view, where he believed it to be Beverly's voice.
Yeah. But if that is the reveal, that would also make sense to that.
It would be an awesome twist if Beverly particularly, but yeah, any of the cast turned out to be a changeling. That would be pretty cool.
The only thing is, then you have got to justify why all their actions to date make sense to that. So if it's just like, oh no, they're a Borg. But why do they have to get them out in so many situations? You'd have to show where they sabotage.
It doesn't. Beverly's actions don't make sense for her to be a changeling.
No,
but they examine all that and revealing what the changeling could do.
But then neither did Bashir performing successful brain surgery on Captain Sisko, but we've all lived with that one.
Well, yeah, but then you could argue that it's like it would be pretty blatant if he killed Sisko in an operation.
I could have easily let him go. Anyway, so Jack then. I like Jack's reaction to it when Picard first goes to see him. And it's almost like the stages of grief. Like he goes to the anger stage straight away because he starts going on about, well, let's talk about the ethics of an ex-Federation counselor going into my brain and doing it. I just love that he gets really litigious about all of it at first before he finds out.
Troy's been on the ship for like 5 minutes, and when they go out of that room, you see Counselor on the door. It's like, well, she got that branded pretty quick.
Yeah, and also while we're on that, Captain Shaw, it clearly has just decided I'm going to let this lot just crack on with whatever they want to do, and they can tell me what we're doing next, because he's not involved in any of this decision making whatsoever until they ring him up and go, right, we're off to Earth.
This is my point last week. It's like he's just like, it's your ship now, sod it. Like, and actually, when they phone him up, when they communicate with him,
we know what you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit where he just goes, it's like, why the hell would we go there? Right, in the middle of Federation Day just to get blown up? He's going, yeah, but it's only happened. It's like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think he's just given up. He's like, you lot sort it out.
I like his line. Every ship has our faces on their dartboard.
Yeah.
And no one gets the reference.
He seems like every parent who's ever lost an argument with a kid and stormed off to their room and shut the door. And it's like, oh, God, how do I back down from this? It's like, oh, we're just going to do this. Like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think he's just like, look, tell me when you've decided what we're doing and I'll let you do it. But I don't want anything to do with it. Don't tell me what's going on. Anyway, going back to Jack for a minute, I really love some of the dialogue that they put together here. Like, when Picard's told him what's going on, there's a couple of times where I feel like Jack is queuing him up to reassure him, and Picard doesn't. And maybe this is like a failing as a father, because he says, like, how much of me is me? And I'm practically screaming at the telly, Jean-Luc, you meant to say all of you is you. That's what you meant to say. Yeah. And then
your thing last week, because you were saying it's the similar thing that, you know, it just sometimes just the right line said by someone at the right time.
Yeah.
But it does make sense that the one, like, even though Picard has sort of like evolved over the last few series, he's kind of learned stuff about his dad and whatever. Still, him being a dad and
he's not
being the Borg is the one trigger for him.
And this is Jack as his son really reaching out to him and going, look, here it is. All you have to do is say the right thing. Like, even more so, he says, what do you see when you look at me? And it's like, just say, I see my son. That is what you needed to say there. And you would have got him back on side and he wouldn't have gone off and done what he does. Yeah. But Picard misses those.
Picard was the wrong one to go tell him what was up.
He was, because he gives him them chances and Picard either misses them or he's too hung up on protocol or he can't quite swallow his pride to do it, whatever it is. But it's like, that is a son screaming out to his dad for a bit of reassurance there, and he misses it, you know.
And Picard really goes on the company line. He says it's like, oh, well, you'll go to this Vulcan Institute, everything will be fine. It's like, yeah, I'll just be poking prodded. And he could have said then, it's like, look, I will fight this. I will make sure you don't end up getting stuck there. Like, there's so many things he could have said that he didn't.
Yeah, he should have taken Bev with him. Yeah. And he could have said, once the threat's dealt with, it's only temporary. He does have one good line, though, which does sort of contextualize where he's coming from, where he says, Jack says something like, you know, whose needs do we need to put first? And he says something like everybody else. And that is who Picard is. He's the person who has to make these big decisions. And it kind of proves that Beverly's decision was right, because Picard, in his first major decision he has to make about Jack's future, rightly or wrongly, whichever way you want to look at it, chooses everyone else. So,
and let's also go into like that point about Bev should have gone. Like, this is the second time where like there was time when they were about to die, and Picard says, "Oh, could I just have a word with Jack?" And he goes off to the holodeck for the rest of like for an hour at least. He's on the holodeck with him. It's like, that's your last moment to spend time with your son, who you've raised, being Beverly. And now in this same instant, it's like, if I was Beverly, I'd be going, "No, I will come with you. Like, I don't mind you being there, but I'm the one who's raised him all these years. Why would she take a back seat in all these situations?" That seems like one of the, like, this is a pretty tight series, but the amount that Bev succeeds to Picard doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't always. Beverly does have a good line where she's talking about, "I gave Wesley space and I lost him to it, and that's why I was more hands-on with Jack." Like, really, they are basically having a pity party at this point. But you know, Picard's, "Oh, it's all my fault." Beverly's, "Oh, it's all my fault."
They do, but I do dark moments in this series. They're not straying away from that at all.
I do really like that line about giving Wesley space. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I had to think about that one for a while though, because I was like, "Well, how does that make sense that she gave him space and she lost him to like what?" No, it was the second bit. Sorry, pardon me. It was the second bit. It was when she was saying about Jack, and she goes, "I watched him closer, and I didn't see what was right in front of my nose." And I was trying to think what she's saying was right in front of his nose. But then if you think about it, like everything she said about the like the signs that he was a bit different.
Him being different and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And then we get that wonderful moment with Data where he says, "Do you want me to say something reassuring?" And it shows how this Data is different to old Data. Picard says, "I don't think you can." And he says, "No, you're right." Whereas old Data would have maybe tried something.
But then he puts his hand on his shoulder, and that's the perfect thing that he needed to do.
That's it, because this Data understands feelings and he knows that that's what Picard needs in the moment. It's brilliant.
For my liking, the reason why this is so genius is that first bit of him doing an old Data line. It's like, perhaps I should say something comforting now. He even goes into like the posture of like traditional Data. And then when he softens, it's so much more impactful. I love I've just got to give it up. I know I've kind of made some jokes about Brent Spiner's, and Brent Spiner's talked about this. I shared a video with you guys of him talking about the episode Masks, and apparently he and Patrick Stewart were cracking each other up doing their silly voices because they were given no time to prep it, and it was two Data episodes back to back that they, not only in the production order, but like the filming order, he had two huge episodes, and he'd actually phoned them and gone, "It's like, there is no way I can prep this." They go, "No, we have faith in you." And he's going, "Okay." So he came up with these crazy voices because he's playing 9 characters in Masks. So that does contextualize why that performance was maybe a little bit ropey. But like, this shows you what acting he can do. He goes to old Data and then he goes to that emotional thing. That pivot could be really mistimed, and he does it.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and like just Picard just simply putting his hand on his hand, just.
Yeah.
I melted in that moment.
It was brilliant. And then we get a load of technobabble. And we've alluded to a lot of this, but we get all the explanations. So there was junk Borg DNA left in Picard, and it's been passed on to his son, and they've put it in the transporters, and now everybody who's gone through a transporter has got this junk Borg DNA. And Jack acts as the transmitter, whereas Picard acted as the receiver. And one thing, like, I love the fact that they call back to First Contact by going, "That's why I could hear them after I'd been assimilated." Do you know what? Maybe you should have reported that, Picard, and then it worked out that you had this shit in your head, and we could have averted all of this, but never mind.
I just like to say, just on that bit, just the whole idea, never has anyone thought to use transporters in this way to kind of as such a cataclysmic plot point, but all you have to do is put that code into the transporter, something which is so innocuous, something which seems so kind of like
they've used minor. Like this little bit of DNA in Picard to program this is what all humans should have.
Yeah,
everybody.
I've never seen such a good.
You should have it.
Yeah, I've never seen such a subtle. It's like it's just a little bit of code put in every transporter that kills the Federation effectively.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good idea. And they do well delivering all the technobabble. Like they have a little PowerPoint in the background to show you, and Worf tells you a bit, and Deanna tells you a bit, and it seems like this can be really boring, but it's done.
Sorry,
well.
can I just quickly, Geordie, take no babble, tick, just ticking off my.
It does seem like the sort of thing though that with a technology like this, that you'd maybe have some sort of safeguards in it about genetic code being overwritten to stop everyone being attacked in this way.
It also raises an interesting point about transporter technology in general. So what we found out in this episode is that because they can't be asked doing a load of data processing every time they're being someone, they have a little bit of a baseline that's built in there. So when through a transporter it goes, this is what humans like, close enough. So it does raise the whole ethical thing of are you if you've gone through a transporter, but we do not have time to get into that.
Yeah, there's always been that one, every time you go through the transporter, do you get killed and someone
exactly
back?
No, but they've always categorically said that's not how the transporters
yes
work.
they have
nixed that. So that's the one thing we know is because basically every version of this in real world tech that anyone can think of involves you getting killed. But that's why you have things like the Heisenberg compensators and stuff. But
an antivirus. So he suggests an antivirus, maybe. We'll talk about what we think for next week at the end, but
I just want to raise something that Amralia brought up in our little chat between the three of us, and that she was saying, is this a transporter accident episode? I say this is a transporter sabotage episode. Sabotage?
There's definitely,
Well, we did do a little series, maybe 2 years ago?
We did Holodeck.
No, we
which
did
often
transporter accidents as well.
Did we?
Yeah, because we've got a playlist of it.
All right, okay. So,
that's right. When I was adding it onto YouTube, I put it in the playlist. And that's right. I said, does this class as a transporter accident?
Well,
I'd argue no, it's not an accident. They did it on purpose. It was sabotage. So
and
it was sabotage, but all the people who went through the transporter accidentally got turned into bugs because they didn't deliberately.
Yeah, but that's like saying someone who gets shot gets accidentally shot. You've been shot. That's been
they accidentally got in the way of a bullet.
Yeah,
that's true.
That seems like a bit of a stretch, but
no one generally. Nobody deliberately gets in the way of a bullet.
No, yeah.
True. And somewhere Dr. McCoy and Dr. Pulaski are sat there going, I told you.
Well,
so you mean Dr. McCoy and Dr. McCoy version 2?
Well, Squee did put a meme up through that, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So McCoy's happy, Pulaski's happy. Barclay's like, I really wish you hadn't got me over this phobia, Deanna.
Well, no, the phobia's back now.
Well, that's it. He'll never go in it again. And now we reach the point in the episode where it's just basically endless geekgasms until you fall over. Are the Borg doing an email scam on the Federate? Probably. They are, actually, yeah. The Queen will be like, I'm a Saudi prince if you give me the money. So it starts off with Frontier Day, and we get the Enterprise F finally, and it is the one from Star Trek Online, and it looks amazing, and we get the fireworks. But
F me hard with this one. F me. I've got the D. I've got the F.
Before we even see the ship, we get Admiral Shelby commanding, which is just what back to bring back Shelby.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it's like this episode feels in a lot of ways like the sequel to The Best of Both Worlds. It kind of is in some ways The Best of Both Worlds Part 3. And to bring Shelby back at a moment like that, chef's kiss.
Yeah,
that was a genius moment. And then did you notice the ship names which they were calling out?
Yes. There was some great ship names.
Would you like?
I was just going to say. Naturally, we're talking ships.
Should we start then? Because we've already mentioned there is a USS Pulaski.
Pulaski, that's the first name.
We get the USS Akudu, the Drexler, the Mandel, I'm not sure, I can never pronounce his name properly. It's Trangu and Trumbull, and they're all Star Trek people who work on Star Trek.
Yeah.
Loads of them.
Trangu on!
We get a USS Ikaru Sulu,
Hey.
which is nice. We get a Ganymede, we get a Cochrane, the Callisto. There's loads of them.
And again, like, even though this doesn't have, like, the F is the only one we get the kind of hero shot of, but even the widespread shot of all the ships is better than anything we've seen in Discovery. I'm sorry, it is.
Well,
It is.
We get ships flying in at different
Yeah, but I'm saying it's so
angles,
they're so small on the screen, you don't get the kind of hero shot of up close.
Yeah.
No, but we can still see them, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And that which you don't always
Like,
in
one of my
Discovery.
modelling groups has been people really gushing over these shots, going, "Oh, I've got ideas what I'm building next," because like these guys are into making your own 3D models and all sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the shot of the F as well. Like, I mean, I hadn't played Star Trek Online, so this is my first time seeing the F in
The
all its
Odyssey
glory.
class.
And just seeing the shape of it, which is so reminiscent of the E, and then the front of it, which is a bit reminiscent of Voyager with the different
But
type of
it's twin
deflector.
necks as well.
Yeah, it's just there are so many, just within that ship design, there's so many callbacks to
It
other
was
ships
great.
we've seen before. It was just so nice, so well done.
And
yeah.
also the fact that we've got Admiral Shelby, which she is an admiral in the new Frontier book. That means next week we're going to get Mackenzie Calhoun, who is her husband, and Mackenzie Calhoun is coming. I can feel it.
You're like the Mackenzie Calhoun witness. You're going to go door to door saying
Mackenzie Calhoun. Mackenzie
rise.
Calhoun is awesome, and he would have this shit sorted out in 5 minutes flat.
Like, they're talking about as if this is like the whole fleet. And I'm sorry, this is not the whole fleet, because like in Discovery we get told there's 7,000 ships in the fleet. By Dominion War there's tens of thousands
the whole
of
fleet. I thought it was most of the fleet was there.
They did say the whole fleet, but as we know, people are misspeaking left, right, and centre. So let's not.
There's like they've maybe called in a good a fleet arm or something. But
yeah, the good bit of the fleet. There's no California class ships there. So come on, where's your representation for the Cerritos?
Let me throw this out. Maybe in the area we can see, that's like the showground. So that's all the ships which are performing. And like with the vastness of space in relatively close area, maybe all the other ships are just there watching it. Like
I just think would the Federation actually bring all its ships from patrols and security details and all the other things, and it's ships that are out on 10, 15-year exploratory missions way out? Has it brought them all back for this one?
I mean, in all fairness, to use that, I've been recently watching Designated Survivor on Netflix. And in that, they say the whole of Congress is here for the swearing in of the, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And there's one designated survivor. So maybe it's the same thing. They're saying it's the whole fleet, but obviously everyone takes it for granted that deep space missions.
So the designated survivor ship should be a California class, and it should cut to a lower decks going like, well, I'm glad we didn't go to that. Okay, so...
Yeah,
no, we didn't
see any either, Emma.
We didn't.
We didn't.
It's a shame.
We didn't. It is a shame because we love the California.
We do, and to see one in live action would have been great. But I reckon it is.
Got that coming later this year.
I reckon it is because the California class wouldn't be invited to this. They'll be doing something crap while everyone else is celebrating.
You could only come to the cleanup party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like in the credits, every time something interesting is happening, they just go the other direction. But yeah, I am wondering, that's the only thing which could have made it better to see the Strange New Worlds trailer is just at the end, like they go Strange New Worlds, and then you just see like from the back some blue hair, and then it cuts.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that. I thought we were going to get that, but never mind. The
California class will probably turn up for Second Contact Day.
There you go. Yeah. So basically, the plan is. This is going to assimilate everyone whose cerebral cortex has not fully formed, which Beverly says is when you're 25. which also explains why it's kind of kicking in more with Jack now. So it all works, all nice, and it also
Evan has
means
a lovely line about that.
It also means
I've never been so glad to see so many grey hairs.
Yes. So that's it. It means that our heroes are safe. They're going to be fine, so they can still save the day. But all of this is secondary to what's really going on, which the first thing is our crew go down to the repair shuttle. Now, at one point, Picard presses his communicator and goes, everyone, get down to the repair bay. We have to assume that he's put people on his favourites list and he's only actually calling
that's what
the people who will...
the whole ship.
I thought this straight away. As soon as he did this, and went, everyone, you've just alerted the entire bloody lot of people who want to kill you.
Yeah, and the point is, very quickly down there. Two things I just want to call out about this as well. One is that, there's some really great shots in this. This is
so it was very useful.
And you get a shot from the roof of the turbo lift, so you're looking down. Mm-hmm. And there's some just really nice inventive shots in this episode. Just a shout out to the director. And also, I did love it when that... sorry, I should let her know, but the alien bold lady, when she gets there, she looks pretty badass. Like the way they've got the mood lighting, and she kind of takes the helm, and she goes like, "We've taken the ship. We've taken the Titan."
The Borg have got a bit more verbose and sassier, haven't they? Because it's the Federation is the Borg, Starfleet is the Borg. Like,
I think this is because it's more biological and not the technological assimilation.
I'm sure.
So they haven't got that technology coming in.
I'd still say I think these were still pretty good Borg lines. If you want to see some dodgy Borg lines, watch the first episode with 7-9 in it when she's still Borg, because she gives some lines which have no bit they're not straight up Borg lines. They're kind of sass lines to Janeway. Yeah.
So let's talk about the biggest tragedy to take place in Star Trek history, the death of Captain Shaw. And
is he really dead?
Yes, but the actor might come back.
He
has to be really dead for the following reason. Captain Shaw was suffering from survivor's guilt because during the Battle of Wolf 359, he was told to evacuate arbitrarily. And this is actually a wonderful, perfect arc for him because he dies being the captain in that situation and ensuring that everyone else gets to safety. So it's an extremely poetic way for him to go out, given his backstory. So if you bring him back, you cheapen it. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to agree with that point exactly. I think it was such a lovely death scene. If he comes back, it robs so much of this. As much as I love the character, then don't kill him off if you want to still use him. They were saying, someone had said, quoted Mateless as saying, "Oh, if we do Legacy, we're going to bring him back, and it won't be in a hokey way, or won't be in a cheap way." But how do you do it without being a cheap way, without taking away from this?
Search for Spock.
True.
Oh yeah. Oh, so have we got to know him over 3 series and a bunch of movies already? Look, I love the character, but I don't think they've earned a search for Spock with him yet.
Bring him back as a hologram, but not a Star Trek hologram, a Red Dwarf hologram, so he has an H on his head. So I think Captain Shaw's story arc and his character arc and the way we felt about him to begin with to where we got now. It's just been phenomenal.
It's
one
amazing.
Of the great Star Trek characters.
It's amazing how upset people have been this week at his death. When you think where we were, that we hated him, and I hope he fucking dies in episode 2.
Yeah. And it's also, all of this is very cleverly done that we get 7 stays with him. Raffi stays with 7, and it's all done just to move your chess pieces correctly into position, so we've just got the core TNG crew escaping.
Yeah.
But before that, and I'll hold my hands up, this is why Terry Matalas is a writer and a director and a showrunner, and I'm just an armchair critic. I said the perfect moment for Shaw to call 7 was last week. I got it wrong. They knew what the perfect moment was, and they did it in this episode.
Because I mean, this also answers something which, again, a mea culpa for me as well, because I was quite a bit earlier in the series when he finds out that the reason why she knew LaForge wasn't LaForge Jr. Sorry, I'm forgetting Sydney. Why she wasn't who she said was because she called him her seven, which she always does, and that seemed quite a natural moment for him to say it. But now you've saved it for this, I equally agree. This was the right moment.
This was the perfect moment.
But I would throw one thing out: if now Seven is going to go on to be the captain. Another reason why you should kill off Raffi and no one else, and it's not just because I want to keep all the next generation through, I swear, but the reason why you should kill off Raffi is then it makes Seven at the beginning of the next series, if she's the captain in Legacy, for instance, it gives her a backstory of why she becomes like him and why people have to persuade her not to be like Shaw and to evolve.
Yeah, and also it gets rid of the will they, won't they, are they, aren't they.
Oh God, yeah, we don't need to see that.
Just I like the idea of Seven and Raffi as a couple, but can we either have them as a couple or not as a couple? Yeah. But let's not do this thing.
Yeah,
we did that in season 2.
We've done it in every season. We did it first season. There was a bit of it, wasn't there? Like with
no, see, it just sort of came out of nowhere at the end of the first season. It was like, oh, they're together, okay.
But like, I would just like to point out, I am not having to go with the actress who plays Raffi. In this series, I think it's been a huge improvement to her character. But I think she's been probably the most underserved character all through. So if she died, it would be symbolic enough to be big, but it wouldn't be. The gut wrench of losing the next generation character. We can't lose any of them. And also,
we did have a gut wrench loss this episode.
Well, no, sorry. Can I just
on top
Raffi,
of Shaw
before we go there on the Raffi side of it, because like one other bit of evidence which I forgot to mention the other week, there was a moment where Troy met Raffi and they go, Troy, Raffi. And I think that was meant to be a huge mic drop moment of like these 2 times of the show meeting, but I just didn't feel as invested in Raffi as they wanted me to in that moment.
Yeah.
Because of the writing. Again, she's played it blinder and this has been the best writing for her. So if they're going to kill her off, this would be a really good hero moment for her today. So who was the other death you were going to bring up there, my friend?
The ship that gets, that sort of takes itself back.
Oh, yeah.
When the Borg assimilate is the Excelsior. And who left to join the Excelsior?
Go on.
Elnor, yeah.
Oh, he did, yeah. Ah.
But he got a transfer last minute just before that happened.
You know what? Elnor's died and come back once. Q will be there somewhere going, oh, for God's sake, you're only there 5 minutes.
He comes back from death just to do that.
Yeah.
No, but it's off screen. It's not confirmed or anything. But the last we know, Elnor is serving on the Excelsior.
That's a really nice point.
So we've lost the main character.
Yeah. And then we get back to the museum and the internet explodes and everybody goes absolutely crazy.
I exploded.
Why did something happen at the end?
Yeah, they got a new ship. Oh, well, they got an old ship.
Call it new.
Look.
The engines
F'd already, and then we get the full D. We get the full, and
that was it. Yeah.
I would like to bring up a point with this because someone.
How old is Elnor?
That's a good question.
Hard to tell with Romulans.
It's joined Starfleet Academy, but Vulcans are sort of like only becoming that sort of age in the 50s and 60s, aren't they?
Yeah, well, he's a Romulan, isn't he? But it's implied that he's very young. But Picard knew him as a boy, so I think he's as old as the actor looks.
Now, I wanted to bring up a point. Because
I think the reason Facebook users asking is because Elnor will be a Borg now.
Yeah.
So he's either Borg or blown up. Or both.
Something I wanted to bring up. So obviously we're coming on to the re-emergence of the D. I want to ask Elliot mainly this, but obviously Jim, you weigh in as well. Someone brought up a point which I kind of disagreed with online. They were saying that they don't think there would have been enough time for Geordi to have rebuilt the D. And they also I'll bring in their full argument, and then I don't think this kind of is a problem because they were saying with all the welding that we're taking, everything. I go, well, that first of all, it depends on how many parts they use. So if they had some kind of like bigger parts, then it doesn't take so much welding. He didn't say he did it exclusively on his own. He did say he spent 20 years, so it isn't just since he's been a Commodore. And also to bring into it as well, because their other argument was the fact that the star drive got replaced on the ships during the Dominion War, or like, you know, the drives on it, they got retrofitted. But that for me just means more spare parts to use. Elliot, as our ships expert, I was just wondering your take on that.
He specifically says that he got the saucer section because it was salvaged from Viridium due to the Prime Directive. You can't leave it on an undeveloped.
That's one solid bit, just needs repair.
So that needed, like, the actual saucer wasn't massively damaged.
No, the windows were smashed.
The windows were smashed and furniture was thrown about a bit, but it actually structurally wasn't massively damaged. So you pretty much got the saucer. Wouldn't take a lot. He's got worker bees. He's in a fleet museum. It's geared up to restore ships in this place to the prime. So he'll have worker bees and they'll be programmable.
And who wouldn't want to work on that?
Do this. And he says, I've got the nacelles and the engine. The engine is the drive section is basically.
Yeah, so basically he's got
ships slotted together.
It's the intergalactic equivalent of a cut and shut.
It's taken a drive section of one ship and the saucer of the Enterprise D and welded them together.
And it would be very easy if they'd done any retrofitting to just take that and put
it doesn't even have to weld them together because it's separated how it's meant to separate.
Exactly.
So it's still a proper separation. So it's just rejoin it to another ship.
In fact, I'll tell you exactly how long it would take because I Googled after this came out and I said to you guys in the chat, I said, if Eagle Moss released that Build Your Own Enterprise D right now, it'd fly off the shelves. And I looked it up, 32 months with four sections a month. So 32 months is exactly how long it takes. Less than 3 years is exactly how long it takes to build an Enterprise D. And
I will also throw out that, thank you, I just knew Alex would know chapter and verse on all that. But I just want to also throw in as well, even Geordie did say, it's like, this bit I'm not too happy with, that bit needs touching up. Yeah, so he knows that it's not 100% perfect, he's still working
He's talking about cosmetically and all that.
Yeah.
And also, he's maybe not got every crew quarter fitted out and all that yet.
And also, on another point, I think the other great thing is you've got the D, which was crashed when Troy took over. You've got Admiral Shelby comes out with the Enterprise F. It gets taken over by the Borg. Now, I'm not saying anything about women drivers, but it seems like Star Trekkers. That's what I'm saying.
That was one of my thoughts when they got it. I was just like, don't let Troy drive. Don't let Troy drive.
But when the B was a female captain. That's good.
That was the C.
That was the C.
Pardon me.
And technically, Castile was in charge when it was lost. Worf has somehow destroyed the E.
That happened in novels, didn't it? Where
he's made the captain in Last Best Hope, the Una McCormack novel.
But something's obviously happened, and it's implied that the E is destroyed.
And shout out to Uma McCormack, fantastic writer I've interviewed.
Yes, and that Last Best Hope is a brilliant Star Trek book, and a lot of it is being made canon now through what's happened in subsequent seasons. So
I can give you a bit of inside baseball here. She has worked with all the novelizations because I'm at the moment listening to the audio book of the authorized biography of Captain Janeway, Catherine Janeway, pardon me. And she did say when I spoke to her that all the kind of books she was working very close. They told her what she could and couldn't use. They even gave her some stuff from Strange New Worlds to put in the biography of Spock. So this is built into the canon very purposefully.
The attention I just want to say, I think the Enterprise D has never looked as good as this.
I completely agree. It looks amazing.
If you look at the detail they put into this, compared to space shots we've had of Discovery, it makes you wonder: is this going to be used in further series?
Maybe. I mean, it's
but for the effort they've done on this, to blow it up next week could be.
Oh, I don't think they're
they'll
going to blow it
up.
up. But one thing I was going to say is, I just wanted one line about it's like I even managed to fix the lights. You remember where they were playing up when we were on the mission on the, when you met Kirk?
Yeah, it's very pointedly the bridge from the TV show, not from Generations, which is the right choice.
Like it when you watch this, it doesn't look quite right on TV. The colour's not the same as in Next Generation, and it's actually a shoot how they've shot it. Because I was watching I was watching Trek Yards who really went in depth on it, and they altered the hue level of the new one, and it's exactly like the Next Generation. So for some reason, they built a set with love to literally be identical to the colour of the carpet, the chairs, everything to be identical to how it was in Next Gen. And then altered the bloody hue of the cameras so it looks brighter. It looked more yellowy, If you look at them side by side, it's more yellowy.
I just assumed the reason why that was just was for HD. Like to shoot it in HD, you have to.
Yeah, it's literally a different hue that they've used.
Do
they
different.
have to use that hue for HD cameras? Is there a reason why they use it?
If somebody sat at home on the computer can turn the dial and alter the hue on it so it looks exactly the same as it did in Next Gen.
And everyone else looks orange.
I'm sure that somebody at CBS Paramount
but the problem,
the
problem with doing that is that it won't look consistent with the colour correction for the rest of the episode. Yeah. So,
and also all the members of the crew look like they're impersonators.
It's a sacrifice you've got to make.
They'll actually look like the 60 and 70 and 80 years old.
And finishing off the episode then, just to make anyone who has not exploded by this point explode, we get Make It So, we get Engage, and the position that the Enterprise takes as it goes to warp exactly matches Picard's painting that he's had.
I didn't even see that. I've got to watch it back for that now.
It's how it does the turn as well, because you used to get it because the Enterprise was never facing in the correct direction before it went to warp. It always had to do this graceful curve.
And also,
it does that.
This was the bit I want to talk about. I love the fact there's a little bit where you get Riker doing this lovely speech. He's going, it's like, we're the crew of the Enterprise. Everyone wants that line. Everyone wants that, we're the crew of the Enterprise. And he goes, and more importantly than that, we're your family. And then Picard does the thing, seeing you all here, the one thing I've really missed, and he says about the carpet, and Facebook is, but he got the carpets right. Now, the thing was, this is a great callback, a very subtle callback to All Good Things, because he says, it's like, oh, actually, what I really enjoy doing is walking about the ship in my bare feet, because he loves the carpet. That's why. This is an All Good Things callback. I said it in previous weeks, I'll say it again, the amount of stuff that they got from All Good Things, which they've used going forward, like the comm badges, like the Ironic Syndrome. There is so much that they got from that one episode, which became canonical. Even before now, whenever they go to the future, the comm badges always look like those badges. It's so lovely. It's so great to see.
No, it's brilliant.
Can I just flip back, sort of like 5-10 minutes to when they first leave the Titan, and it's Georgian Data at the front of the shuttle before everyone else joins them at the front. Yeah. And Data says something. I can't remember his line. And Geordi turns around to him and goes,
"We've got very
long. Can you not be so depressing?" And he goes, "I hope we die fast." And I just thought that's law channeling through Data, sort of like the
that's true.
Of them.
There's a bit of law in there. You're right.
He has the smell of it. I hope we die fast.
It was so great. And someone else, again, another kind of point I want to diffuse. Someone said, like, because they're now already on the Enterprise F, there's only so long before you got the J, which has appeared in Enterprise. Yeah, but like they always, in every single time travel episode, say it's like, but now we've seen the future, it might be different. And that was during a Temple Cold War. Yeah. The amount of things that have changed as a result of that. Don't give me that one.
Don't worry about that. And besides, the original Enterprise lasted 50 years. Well, depends on which version.
It's like, arguably, you can say now Pike's Enterprise has to have a major refit before TOS, because we have now seen the TOS Enterprise is canon in Picard.
Yeah.
But did it get smashed up and rebuilt or what?
Because they already also, in the first series of Picard, they did show the other version.
Yeah. So both are
It was the
correct.
version, yeah.
But then you've also got, like, in the motion picture, it's pretty much a completely different ship from the TOS Enterprise, how it's rebuilt.
And also,
it's
let's
technically
also
a
throw in
refit.
there.
But
Yeah, we've got the Titan
Yeah.
looks completely different to how we saw it before. They seem to be saying it's the same Titan, which is very
No,
much
they're not. It's the Titan A.
Titan A.
Oh, is it?
It's a different ship.
Yeah, but they said, but Riker says that he was on that one, which suggests it's some kind of refit, and they made it.
No, that just
So that's what they did with the Discovery.
No, that just suggests that he fucked up the Titan and he was still a captain when he got the Titan A.
Yeah, they did do it. Anyway, let's not.
But I'm going to say also, just last thing. But they've also thrown in, when they wanted another Enterprise for the series Enterprise, they brought out the NX, which was never referenced at all prior to that. So
true.
So all they have to do is have the H.5. Like, that'll be the next ship.
Yeah.
Well, they got the GHI before the J.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
loads of time.
There's another nice part that we had in the shuttle as well that we haven't got, and it's just that conversation when they first see the D, and it's sort of like they're looking at it, and is it Troy goes, but will she fly in Picard's?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, she'll fly.
Yeah. It's like it is a thing that is particular to Star Trek fans, but seeing a spaceship again in a TV show should not have this emotional reaction on people. But I can genuinely say it's not just us. The outpouring of love for this episode is for even people who are not diehard Trekkies.
To be fair, Star Wars fans do it as well over the Millennium Falcon.
True. Yes.
But I'm just going to give out, same thing as Jim's point. The amount of people who reach out to me, I'm used to having these conversations with you guys and a few other Trekkie friends of mine. But people who are casual viewers, people who haven't watched Star Trek since The Next Generation, are coming up to me in their droves going, "Oh, did you see it?" Because they know how into Star Trek I am. Yeah. And just the amount of times, even before we have this conversation, that I've had the conversations, it's just glorious. It's just so great to have.
Yeah.
Even casual fans feeling like their childhood's been given back to them.
One of my managers at work, he started watching this season of Picard, and he asked me for recommendations where we should start watching Star Trek from.
The Cage.
Well, I went, well, I started from the beginning. Do you want it in chronological order? How many should be? Which gets confusing. I went, no, to be fair, if you're going to be watching them all, next one to watch DS9.
Yeah, if you want,
that lends itself to.
Just please say you grabbed him by his lapels and said, anything but Series 1 of Picard, anything but that one. Don't start there.
Yeah. Oh, it was done so well, Facebook user. Yes, it was incredible. And I think
I was off to say one more thing. I do like when they get onto the bridge of the Enterprise and you're all like gushing over it. You have the next gen crew gushing over it, and then you have Worf. I preferred the weapons on the E. Had much better phaser range.
Yeah,
and Troy turns around to him, he goes, and he realizes that it's perfect.
And what? Don't forget, Worf has commanded the Defiant, so the Enterprise D's weaponry is not great.
No, I will not.
Zoe says leave series. Yes, thank you, Zoe. You should. Every single episode he has a dig at it.
I enjoyed season 1 as well, Zoe.
I did.
Hot garbage.
It's not that bad.
Should be holding
I want to put money on it that the Enterprise D with the torpedoes Georgie's
loading up,
having loading up right at the end. Better than anything else Starfleet has, and indeed kicks ass.
So, well, let's move on then we'll try and keep it brief, but major predictions for next week. I'm going with Jack will somehow overpower the Borg Queen and be able to deactivate most of the Borg drones, and the Enterprise D will be able to defeat whatever's left.
Right,
And Geordie's going to die.
I have my stupid answer, and my less stupid answer, and then I have my real predictions. But my stupid answer is we got told at the start of this season that this would be a tie-up for DS9 and Voyager as well as Next Generation. And apart from seeing Tuvok, we haven't had anything for Voyager this season. So I'm going to go full in that it's going to get timey-wimey and not have happened and show's okay.
So it's going to be a rewrite.
Voyager did do that a lot.
My prediction.
Voyager, we did time travel episodes, and every single time travel episode of Voyager never happened.
Yeah, we worked out that Voyager actually didn't take them 7 years to get back because the amount of episodes that didn't happen is frankly quite strange.
With me, they said I cried. That's talking about season 1. Anyway, my prediction is that because you guys seem hell-bent on one of the Next Generation crew dying. Now, I don't want any of them to die, but my prediction is if you're going to have one of them die, you have a wonderful episode, they explore everything. Obviously, they sort out the day, and then Picard, to save the day, somehow sacrifice himself. We don't need to see Data sacrifice
I'm going to say you can't kill a major TNG character more than once.
Let me finish. They have him die, and then just as he's dying, he gives this emotional Picard-like speech about how his friends have been the best of him and how his legacy lives on through Jack. It's going to be, we're going to have tears in our eyes, and then he's going to go, and I'm sorry for season 1, and then dead. That's going to be it.
Yeah, it'll get very metatextual and.
Who was I talking about this about with? It might have been you. I was speaking to James, but Georgie's the one who dies to save his daughters.
I agree.
To the same perspective of losing a friend that Georgie went through.
Yeah,
and it gives him that unique experience.
That could be very poignant. I hope not. I think Picard is the natural because he's the one least likely. He's the one who he wanted to use this to wrap up Picard. Really, he's talked about this in an interview quite a bit. So it would make sense if he died at the end because it's not likely he'd guess.
Yeah, but they've got the 5th movie to make after this. So
I'd love it, but I can't see it happening, and this would seem like a lovely wrap up.
It would. I don't know maybe if
what you don't think with them moving into movies with a Section 31 movie event.
I mean, it's not a movies, TV movie, but
I'm just not sure how you do everything they've done in this and then do a movie.
No, I don't think you do. I think TNG suffered because it had a perfect TV finale, and then didn't stick the ending with the movies, and now it's got the thing. Yeah, Paul Laris. Yeah, Laris is waiting there away.
I want. I'm with Emma on this. I want Picard to have his happy ending.
Yeah,
and he goes off with Laris because he's not getting back with Bev. They've got a son. That's fair enough, but he's not getting back with Bev. I want him to have his happy ending with Laris, and yet he'll have a kid with her now.
I'm sorry.
It'd be funny if he got back to Laris and she's like, "You've got a son. I'm not ready for that level of commitment." And
I just think Laris giving him a happy ending would be too pornographic for Star Trek. I assume that's what you meant.
That'd be Patrick Stewart's version. Like, I've seen everything.
And I saw everything.
And then the clothes fell off.
Yeah.
Jim gets the exit line of the episode. There you go.
Right. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up there then. I think it's fair to say everyone, not just us, everyone is incredibly excited. Bev could be a changeling. That'd be a good.
Oh, we said let's just.
And can we just end on the warning once again?
Yeah. Do not use the internet. Episode
10 is being shown in America in certain theaters, movie theaters tonight. So it's going to be worse than normal avoiding spoilers.
Yeah.
So just try and avoid spoilers because none of us want to ruin it. None of us want it ruined for us.
And if you go out of your way to tell us spoilers, we will end you. You think Liam Neeson's got a certain set of skills? Try 3 nerds when we are properly motivated. We will destroy you and everyone you've ever known.
No spoilers, and we will all be incommunicado until we've seen the episode.
The first thing you get from Retrek Podcast will be next Tuesday when we post the thumbnail for the episode. I'd be very surprised if none of you haven't seen it by then.
For the next 24 hours, we will be living under assumed names in tribes hereto undiscovered by man. That's our mission.
That's it. And
do you know what was annoying this week when we talk about spoilers? In my Star Trek modelling group, someone posted spoilers on the bloody Friday of the Enterprise D. Going, look at this that's been done. And they got bought and they go, no, so I can make alterations to my space stock I'm making. It's like, no, that you're out of order.
Yeah, that's very bad. Very bad indeed.
And especially when that's only models. You don't post about TV shows.
Exactly. Right then. So if you want to get in touch with us, we will not reply until next Tuesday. But
we will reply, but we won't tell you anything or talk
retrekpod@gmail.com, on Twitter @retrekpod. Come and find us on Facebook. Come and find us on YouTube. Be careful on YouTube though, because Elliot nearly got spoiled there. Go directly to Elliot's page using the link.
I am building an FR class Quark's treasure.
There we go. And that's very, very brand new, hot off the press model is that. And Dr. Squee, what's going on with the Dr. Squee show?
If you'd like to go to sorry, Elliot, just for the sake of it. If you'd like to, go to our YouTube page at the moment. I don't know what's coming up next week, but if you go to youtube.com/Dr. Squee or Facebook page, you can see my interview with Chesney Hawkes, which I did yesterday. And he was a pleasure, a delight. We got into a lot of mental health stuff, which I've never heard him talk about before. It was real pleasure.
Excellent. Yeah, so I hope you all avoid the spoilers. This promises to be a major, major Star Trek event. Fingers crossed it's going to stick the landing, but it's looking like it's going to be something special. So thanks for trekking with us this time, and we will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Drag off an LLAP.